Struggling with restless nights? Discover science-backed secrets to fall asleep quickly and stay asleep longer, so you wake up energized every day.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, dive deep into complex topics and give you knowledge that really makes a difference. Tonight, we're tackling something almost everyone struggles with sometimes, getting a good night's sleep. You know that feeling, right? Staring at the ceiling, exhausted but wired. That restless night, that fragmentation, it just ruins your next day, your focus, everything. So we're going deep into the world of sleep, why it's so crucial, and, more importantly, how you can start getting those really restorative nights back. Our main guide for this is Dr. Orman's fantastic book, Sleep Well Again, A Doctor's Guide to Restful Nights. And this isn't just, any sleep book. It's based on his 40-plus years as a physician and stress expert. It blends real science with practical stuff he's learned from, countless patients.
Yeah.
Exactly. And our mission today is really to pull out the absolute key insights from Dr. Orman's work. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding why you might be having sleep troubles and, crucially, how to tackle them. We want to do that without you getting completely overwhelmed with information. And we're focusing really on the holistic side, the non-drug approaches to help you find that natural sleep again.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going from, the science bit, what's actually happening when you sleep, all the way to simple things you can literally start doing tonight. And, Dr. Orman really hammers home that to fix sleep, you've got to understand how it works first, the engine, so to speak. So let's start there, the mechanics. What actually goes on when we finally drift off?
Well, it feels simple, doesn't it? Just close your eyes, sleep happens. But as we know, it's way more complex than that. Sleep isn't just one state. It's a whole series of stages. And Dr. Orman really unpacks why knowing the difference between REM and non-REM is so critical, and how messing up that cycle affects, pretty much everything, not just feeling tired. Yeah, what his work shows is that each stage has a very specific job to do. See, when we sleep, our bodies cycle through these distinct stages. You've got non-REM sleep, which goes from light sleep down into that really deep restorative sleep. And then there's REM sleep rapid eye movement. He explains that deep non-REM sleep, that's like your body's overnight repair crew. That's when you get cell repair, muscle growth, your immune system gets bolstered. It's vital for physical recovery. Then REM sleep, that's not just about dreaming weird dreams. It's more like your brain's nightly cleanup and organization time, essential for thinking, locking in memories, processing emotions. So what he argues is that truly restorative sleep means getting the whole cycle, respecting all the parts. Because if you fragment it, you leave both your body and mind kind of shortchanged, often without even knowing why you still feel off.
That's such an important distinction. So it's not just about clocking more hours, but getting quality hours in the right stages. And what's really interesting, as you mentioned, is how sleep changes. It's not the same when you're 20 as when you're 60, right? Does Dr. Orman talk about how our sleep sort of evolves over time?
Oh, absolutely. And it's something he really emphasizes, especially for older patients. He explains that as we age, our circadian rhythms, our internal body clocks that regulate sleep and wakefulness, they often shift. And we also see changes in what he calls our sleep architecture.
Sleep architecture, like the blueprint of our sleep.
Exactly. It's the structure, how much time you spend in each stage, how smooth the transitions are. These changes are, a natural part of aging. Sleep can get lighter, you might wake up more often. It's a big reason why older adults often report issues like insomnia, or just feeling like their sleep is broken up. But, and this is key, Dr. Orman stresses this isn't something you just have to put up with. It's a natural process, yes, but one you can work with proactively.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people listening are nodding along right now, maybe recognizing that in themselves or, a parent or someone they know. So, okay, it's not just about what sleep is, but what's messing it up. If it's not one size fits all, how does Dr. Orman suggest we figure out our own personal sleep roadblocks?
Right, that's a cornerstone of his approach. Sleep problems are rarely down to just one thing. He really pushes for identifying the root causes for your specific situation. He tends to group them into 4 main areas. First, you've got behavioral habits. These are the things in your daily routine that, often without you realizing, are messing with your sleep. Little things. Then there are psychological stressors, things like anxiety, anger, just the general pressure of modern life. These play a huge role. Third, and this is important, physical health factors. Dr. Orman really stresses that sometimes persistent sleep issues are actually symptoms of something else, like undiagnosed sleep apnea, restless legs, or even side effects from medications.
So you need to rule those out first, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He'd always urge you to check with your doctor, because changing habits won't fix an underlying medical condition. And finally, environmental factors. The bedroom itself. light, noise, temperature. They can be major saboteurs.
It's amazing how those little things, like you said, the habits or the environment can build up into these huge barriers, like leaving your phone charging by the bed, thinking, oh, I'll just check the time, and then bam, it's 3 a.m. and you're scrolling. I like that the book has self-assessment tools for this. It really makes sense that understanding your specific issues is step one, not just grabbing for a general fix. And you mentioned finding your sleep type. What exactly does he mean by that? Why is that so important?
Well, that's really the heart of it, moving beyond generic advice like darken your room. Your sleep type, as Dr. Orman defines it, comes from analyzing your patterns, your habits, your environment, how you physically react when sleep gets disrupted. It helps you figure out if you're primarily, say, a stress sleeper, mind racing, can't switch off, or maybe a lifestyle sleeper whose schedule is just out of whack, or perhaps an environmental sleeper where the bedroom itself is the main problem. The book gives you questionnaires and really encourages tracking your routines, what you eat when you exercise, screen time, stress levels, to pinpoint what's really blocking your sleep. That personalization is what makes the advice effective. It moves from guessing to targeted action.
Okay, so once you've played detective and found your culprits, maybe it is the late-night emails or the neighbor's dog. The obvious next question is, right, what do I do? And this is where the book gets really practical, isn't it? Full of strategies.
Exactly. He calls them simple habit shifts. And they're really the core of his non-drug approach. He gives lots of concrete examples, things you can actually do, but always with the nuance from his decades of experience. So for the bedroom environment, it's about making it a true sleep sanctuary. Keep it cool, often cooler than people think, maybe around 18 degrees Celsius, 65 Fahrenheit. Keep it dark, really dark. Blackout curtains are great. And quiet. Maybe a white noise machine if you've got unavoidable noise. Then there are routine adjustments. A big one is consistent bedtime and wake-up time. Yes, even on weekends.
Oof, that's the hard one for many people.
It is. But it's crucial for anchoring your circadian rhythm. And of course, cutting down screen time significantly for at least an hour before bed. It's not just the blue light. It's the stimulating content, too. Your dietary habits matter a lot, too. Dr. Orman talks about things like finding your personal caffeine cutoff time. For some people, it's not just avoiding coffee after dinner. It might be that even a 3 p.m. soda or tea is hitting their sleep quality later on. You need to figure out your sensitivity. Also, avoiding big meals close to bedtime, and maybe managing evening fluids to avoid those nighttime bathroom trips.
Makes sense. Little things adding up.
Yeah, and a huge mindset tip he gives. If you're lying there awake, struggling, don't watch the clock. Clock watching just ramps up the anxiety. His advice, get out of bed. Do something quiet and calming in dim light. Read a boring book, maybe until you feel genuinely sleepy again. Don't just lie there getting frustrated.
These really aren't quick fixes, are they? It sounds like it's genuinely about changing behaviors, maybe habits you've had for years, not just popping a pill. Absolutely not quick fixes. That's the whole point. The book really emphasizes that lasting improvement comes from consistency. Dr. Orman encourages you to pick a couple of strategies relevant to your sleep type and commit to trying them for several weeks. And track your progress. See what works. It's about building those new, healthier habits until they become second nature. It takes time, but it's sustainable.
And let's circle back to those psychological stressors we mentioned. The mind-body link feels so critical here. We talked about stress being a root cause, but what's the direct connection? Why does being anxious literally keep you awake? It feels like such a vicious cycle sometimes.
Oh, the link is incredibly direct and powerful. When you're dealing with anxiety or anger or even just the constant low-level hum of daily stress, your body can get stuck in its fight or flight mode. It releases stress hormones like cortisol.
Right, cortisol, designed to keep you alert for danger. Exactly. It's your ancient survival system kicking in thinking there's a threat, when really you just need to wind down and sleep. So that cortisol keeps you physiologically alert, making it really hard to relax, fall asleep, or stay asleep if you do nod off. So managing stress isn't just, a nice to have for daytime well-being. Dr. Orman argues it's absolutely fundamental for getting good sleep.
Okay, so we need to manage the stress, but what about when you're actually in that anxious spiral at 2 a.m.? What practical techniques does he suggest then?
Well, he acknowledges that the 2 a.m. panic is tough. That's where his advice to get out of bed is really key. Break the association between bed and frustration. Combining that with a quick grounding exercise, like some simple deep breathing, maybe that 4-7-8 technique you hear about, breathing in for 4, holding for 7, out for 8, just something to interrupt the spiral. But his main focus is on prevention, building relaxation into your life. So the book details things like practicing deep breathing regularly during the day to generally calm your nervous system, Mindful meditation, even just 5–10 minutes, to help quiet that busy mind before it gets going at night. And establishing a really consistent wind-down routine, like a buffer zone before bed.
A wind-down routine, what does that look like?
It's a set of calming activities you do every single evening. Maybe reading a physical book, gentle stretching, listening to calming music, taking a warm bath. The key is consistency. It signals to your body and mind, okay, the day is done, it's time to prepare for sleep. It's about proactively setting the stage for rest, not just switching off the lights and expecting sleep to magically happen.
That makes a lot of sense. Proactive rather than reactive. Which brings us back kind of full circle to how sleep changes over life. We touched on age. Does Dr. Orman offer specific hope there? Or is lighter, more broken sleep just inevitable as we get older?
He definitely offers hope and practical strategies too. It's true that sleep patterns often change, becoming lighter, maybe more awakenings, but the book provides specific, actionable things older adults can do to mitigate these effects. For example, he really emphasizes optimizing your exposure to natural light, especially in the morning. That helps reinforce those shifting circadian rhythms, kind of resetting your internal clock. He also talks about the importance of appropriately timed physical activity. Keeping active during the day helps deepen sleep quality later. Just, avoid intense exercise too close to bedtime.
Right. Timing is everything.
It is. So it's really about adapting intelligently to the natural changes, not just resigning yourself to them. The message is absolutely one of agency. You don't just have to accept poor sleep because you're getting older. You can take steps to improve it.
Okay, so if we were to boil down the core actionable advice from this deep dive into Dr. Orman's work, it sounds like. First, become your own sleep detective to figure out your unique sleep type and blockers. Second, track your routines honestly to see what's really going on. And third, commit to making those targeted behavioral changes, those simple habit shifts, consistently for lasting results.
That sums it up perfectly. And I think what's so valuable about his approach is that it is holistic and doesn't rely on pharmaceuticals first. That makes it relevant for pretty much anyone having sleep troubles, whether it's driven by stress, age, lifestyle, or a mix of everything. It's really about empowering you with sustainable strategies that work with your body's natural processes. It offers genuine hope for better rest.
This deep dive into sleep well, again, really shows that getting back to restful nights isn't about finding some magic bullet. It's more about tuning back into your own body, your natural rhythms, and making those small intentional changes consistently.
Exactly. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. What if the key to your best sleep isn't something external you need to buy, but actually something you rediscover and re-engineer within yourself, your habits, your mindset, your environment?
Food for thought, definitely. We really hope this deep dive has given you some powerful tools, maybe a renewed sense of hope for your own sleep journey. Perhaps take a moment this week to think about just one habit you could tweak or one technique you might try. You might be surprised. Sweet dreams.
Ready for your best night's sleep ever? Share your sleep struggles and wins in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Storytime for more life-changing wellness tips.